The delivery of the future USS Cleveland, LCS-31, marks a symbolic and strategic closing chapter for one of the U.S. Navy's most debated shipbuilding programs. After more than 2 decades of development, construction, redesigns, budget battles, and operational adjustments, the final Freedom-class Littoral Combat Ship has officially left Fincantieri Marinette Marine. While this milestone may seem like the end of a routine production line, it is in fact a moment packed with lessons, controversies, and reflections about the evolution of American naval power in the 21st century. Cleveland, the 16th and last ship of her variant, represents not only a physical platform but an entire era of experimentation, ambition, and recalibration in the U.S. approach to littoral warfare. The Navy emphasizes that Cleveland's delivery showcases the service's unwavering vigilance and commitment to global stability, and while such statements are standard in official releases, they carry additional weight in this case. The Freedom-class program went through a complex journey. Initially envisioned as a fast, agile vessel capable of modular mission packages, from anti-submarine warfare to mine countermeasures and surface engagements, the concept promised revolutionary versatility. But evolving threats, rising maintenance costs, and questions surrounding survivability gradually transformed the LCS from a bold experiment into a controversial chapter in modern naval acquisition. Cleveland's completion therefore closes a loop on a program that taught the Navy as much about what it does not need as what it hopes to field in the future. When Cleveland is commissioned in early 2026 and begins her operational life from Mayport, Florida, she will support maritime presence missions, security patrols, and sea control tasks. These roles reflect the capabilities the Navy considers most realistic for the Freedom variant. While initially advertised as highly lethal small combatants, LCS ships today serve more as flexible patrol and regional deterrence assets, particularly useful in lower-intensity environments where their speed and operational agility offer practical value. The Navy's own strategic messaging now emphasizes presence, reassurance, and interoperability over the high-end peer conflict missions originally envisioned in the early 2000s. Yet USS Cleveland is more than a single ship fulfilling a revised mission profile. She carries a name with substantial historical weight, following 3 predecessors whose service spans more than a century of American naval history. This lineage creates a narrative bridge between the eras of protected cruisers, World War II light cruisers, Cold War amphibious warfare, and today's littoral combat initiatives. The original USS Cleveland, C-19, commissioned in 1903, was a flagship that reflected America's emergence as a blue water power. The second Cleveland-class cruiser fought across the Pacific in World War II, participating in nearly every major campaign from Guadalcanal to Okinawa. The third, an Austin-class amphibious transport dock, contributed to Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Iraqi Freedom. Each ship bore the name into a distinct era of naval warfare, symbolizing both continuity and adaptation. The new LCS-31 now inherits that mantle, though in a geopolitical landscape vastly different from any her predecessors faced. While the ship will operate in nearshore environments, her design's primary focus, the strategic context surrounding littoral zones has shifted dramatically since the LCS concept first emerged. Today, nearshore regions are contested spaces frequented by unmanned systems, long-range precision weapons, gray zone tactics, and increasingly assertive regional powers. This makes the original LCS philosophy appear both prophetic and outdated. Prophetic because navies now require specialized capabilities for shallow water operations, and outdated because the threat environment has evolved faster than the platform itself. This duality explains why the Navy is simultaneously retiring some LCS hulls early while still accepting the final ships of the class. The fleet needs numbers, presence, and versatility, even if the original modular vision never fully materialized. Supporters highlight that the LCS remains a fast, mission-focused platform that can operate independently or as part of a larger networked force. Modern naval battles are increasingly distributed, relying on sensors, drones, and interconnected fire control systems. In such environments, even a smaller ship like Cleveland can add value by extending the Navy's situational awareness, conducting partner nation operations, and performing missions that do not require a destroyer or cruiser. Critics, however, argue that this justification reflects a shift from the ambitious promises of the early program to more modest operational expectations. The LCS, they say, was supposed to counter advanced littoral threats, not merely supplement presence missions. Another factor shaping the story of LCS-31 is the industrial and political dimension. Fincantieri Marinette Marine, with support from the Navy and numerous subcontractors, invested decades into developing production lines, refining construction techniques, and sustaining local economies. The Freedom-class ships became a symbol of the American shipbuilding workforce, offering thousands of jobs and forming a key component of the U.S. maritime industrial base. Delivering the final hull is therefore both an achievement and a pivot point as the yard transitions toward building the Constellation-class frigates, ships that many view as a direct response to the shortcomings of the LCS program. In this sense, Cleveland represents not just the end of one chapter but the beginning of another, potentially more successful era in small surface combatant development. For YouTube audiences, the analytical significance lies in what LCS-31 means for the future of naval warfare. The U.S. Navy is adjusting its force structure to counter near-peer competitors, particularly China, whose naval expansion and anti-access/area denial strategies are reshaping maritime strategy. Littoral combat ships, despite their limitations, offer valuable lessons about speed, modularity, cost control, and technological adaptability. These insights are already shaping the Navy's next-generation surface combatants, unmanned vessels, and distributed lethality concepts. Cleveland, therefore, is more than the last of her class. She is a data point in the larger narrative of how the U.S. Navy adapts to shifting global power dynamics. As the ship prepares for commissioning, she stands as a reminder of the complex balance between innovation and practicality. LCS was born from ambition but constrained by reality. The Navy learned that speed alone cannot offset survivability concerns, that modularity requires stable mission package development, and that cost-efficient platforms can become expensive when strategic requirements change. Yet despite these challenges, the fleet still benefits from having agile vessels capable of operating in contested littorals, conducting partner engagements, and filling the presence gap between major combatants. In the end, USS Cleveland enters service not as a revolutionary warship, but as a refined representation of what the LCS ultimately became, a specialized tool born from an experimental era in naval design. Her story is a mixture of legacy, adaptation, and strategic reevaluation, a perfect reflection of the U.S. Navy's ongoing effort to maintain dominance in a world where threats evolve faster than shipbuilding cycles. And for defense observers and your YouTube audience, the significance of Cleveland's delivery lies not only in the vessel itself but in the broader transformation of modern naval power that her journey encapsulates.